Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
A three-time Super Bowl champion handicaps this Super Bowl from Radio Row. Plus, Jordan Love and the Packers won't be playing in the Super Bowl. Love tells us how he plans to change that next year. And two former players make the case their positions will be the key when the Chiefs and the Eagles square off. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
All right, we're here, Super Bowl 59, New Orleans. It's Chiefs, it's Eagles. I have four-time? What are we going to...
I played in 3 Super Bowls, but I got my 4th ring for calling the game on the radio. Dave Logan and I, another former NFL player and the voice of the Broncos, got to call the game. And John Elway was the GM, and he got me my 4th Super Bowl ring. So thank you, John.
So John really got you 3.
He really did. He really did.
Well,
thank you.
That's a great segue here. I'm Ed McCaffrey, Denver Broncos, San Francisco 49ers, longtime NFL player. The Chiefs are going for the three-peat. And people keep saying the first ever. The Packers did it before they were Super Bowls, but it's the first Super Bowl three-peat ever. Yeah. You had 3 in 5 years, though.
Yes.
So how, to think about the run that they've been on, AFC Championship game every year, to be in the Super Bowl this many times, you know how hard that is.
Yeah. It's not easy. I think they've been in 5 of the last 6.
Right.
And they've won 2 in a row. We should have won 3 in a row. Right, we lost to Jacksonville before we won 2. I thought we were the best team in 96, 97. We went 14-2. We had 1 bad game.
Yeah. 1
bad game. But it wasn't a surprise to me that we went back and won the next 2. Unfortunately, we didn't get the three-peat, but we were in a great era. And I played in San Francisco before that. We won 1 in Super Bowl 29. And so 3 in 5 years, I was living large. We were happy. And, Mike Shanahan came from San Francisco. He was the offensive coordinator. We won Super Bowl 29. He came to Denver, and I wanted to play for him. I want to play for this guy because I know we're going to have a chance to win a Super Bowl if he's the head coach. And sure enough, we did. Thank goodness. I also wanted to play with John Elway.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I played for his dad, Jack, in college. Thought the world of his dad and really wanted to get a chance to play for John. I thought between Mike Shanahan and John Elway, without knowing a whole lot of the other players, I just felt like that team would have a chance to win. And he believed in me. He was going to give me a chance to compete and to play. So it worked out really well. But, you never forget the one that got away. And so I'll never forget that the season before we won our Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, it was in New Orleans. Super Bowl 31.
Remind me who won that one?
31. Green Bay played the Patriots, and Green Bay beat the Patriots, and that's why we were 14-point underdogs the next year. So I was in New Orleans the week of. I didn't go to the game, but then when we played the Packers the following year, I felt very confident that we could beat them, but we were 14-point underdogs. No one was giving us a chance, and I'm like, did you forget about the 14-2 team that, in my opinion, should have won the year before? Anyway.
So what advice would you give the Eagles? Because they're the underdogs. Yeah. It's Patrick Mahomes. You guys, the Eagles probably feel confident. But was there's something else that you felt like gave you an advantage that you guys went in so confident?
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to talk about the Chiefs. Great coaching, great quarterback, a team that buys in to what they're doing and plays selflessly, and then a little bit of luck. So preparation, determination, coaching talent. But the ball does have to bounce your way because you have to keep players healthy. A referee's call, you name it. You got to get a little bit of that to go on to win multiple Super Bowls. That's why it's so hard to win 3. Any of those things goes wrong, and you could lose. Philadelphia's a really good football team. Everybody knows they can run the football. They have the best run-blocking offensive line in football. They have a 2,000-yard rusher in Saquon Barkley. All I've heard about all week long is how Kansas City knows they have to stop the run. So in my mind, Philadelphia needs to hit a couple of shots up top early. If they can hit A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, score a big touchdown in the first quarter, second quarter off a play-action pass, because you don't have to set up the run now. They know you can run. So a play-action pass may be very valuable early for Philadelphia. The other thing I think Philadelphia needs to be concerned about defensively is being able to stop the run, rushing forward like they do most of the time, and really disguising their coverages. But if they don't get pressure rushing for, Patrick Mahomes is still going to pick you apart. But I think for Kansas City, they need to run the ball a little bit to get Philadelphia not to play so soft in coverage, because that makes it hard to throw the football. You got to have a plan for Kelsey. You can't just let Kelsey have 10 catches and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets them, he gets them, but you can't just give them to him. And then for me, this is going to be the key to the game. If it's a close game, if it's close, Philadelphia has to find a way to end with the football. If they have a lead late in the game, even if they're coming out from their own end zone, you might have to go for it on 4th down because you do not want to punt it back to Patrick Mahomes.
With any time left on the clock.
I swear Andy Reid has plays scripted for just that moment. Patrick Mahomes going for it on 4 downs because you have to go for it on 4th down.
Right.
It's going to be hard to stop. You got Kelsey and Mahomes will run with it. He'll make plays with his feet in those situations. We've seen it too many times. I think he has 23 fourth quarter comebacks, 19 last drive wins. Crazy. We saw it last year in the Super Bowl in overtime. I witnessed it firsthand. And so if you're Coach Sirianni and you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you have the ball at the end of the game, you might have to make a tough call and go for it on 4th down to try to end the game on offense. Because if you punt it away, good luck.
It's funny, I was thinking about those Denver teams as the Chiefs in this case, but then you're talking about the Eagles, and I'm like, great run blocking offensive line, 2,000-yard rusher. Like, wait, that sounds like another Broncos team I can think of.
We had 3,000-yard receivers and a 2,000-yard rusher offense, so they were putting up 30-some points a game, but we were also playing a very good team. We actually got a defensive stop in Super Bowl 32, and we got to go out and take a knee.
The Packers went on 4th down.
Yeah, and John Mobley batted it down, right? But it brings up another good point. It's that teams win Super Bowls, right? And the thing that's been crazy about the Kansas City Chiefs is that they have found a million different ways to win close games. They've won on offense, they've won on defense. Against our Denver Broncos, they block a field goal at the end of the game.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So how they do it, I don't know. Will their luck change? Maybe. But they have proven that of all the teams in the NFL, they can find different ways to win close games. Teams win games. And so it's not going to be the best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. It's going to be the best team that wins this game. And that's what makes it so great.
You can stay up to date on the NFL all year by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On NFL on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Jordan Love tells us why the team in Green Bay fell short and how he plans to get them there next year. Before we get to that, though, the Cleveland Cavaliers made their trade deadline splash. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even better, betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easier to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's icing on the cake. And that $5 could get you the total points bet for the Super Bowl, a little over-under action. FanDuel sees this as a moderately scoring affair here, over-under set at 48.5. And I could definitely see it going way under. I could definitely see it going way over. That's the fun. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Just bet $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. A bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. The best team in the East made a trade deadline splash of their own.
Cleveland Cavaliers did not stand pat at the 2025 NBA trade deadline as they have sent Karis LeVert and George Niang to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for DeAndre Hunter. There was some draft compensation, mainly second-round picks, and a few pick swaps, like swaps of swaps, that were sent to Atlanta to complete this deal. But the Cavs made an upgrade at the small forward position, and this is a big deal, I think, in terms of the Cavs' title hopes. I think this is a big deal in terms of how they view this team moving forward and what they're capable of. I don't think that the Cavs make this deal unless they believe that they are capable of winning the NBA Finals in June.
Phoenix Suns made a trade. Not that trade. Yusuf Nurkic is heading to Charlotte, and so is a first-round pick.
Chef Peterson out there doing whatever he can to bring the Charlotte Hornets first-round picks. I forgot the first-round pick. They not only got Yusuf Nurkic, they get a first-round pick. Now, is it a heavily protected first-round pick swap that I think has to go through like 4 other teams? It's got to go around the world like 2 or 3 times on international flights before it ever gets to Charlotte. Maybe. But that's okay, because as we found out with the De'Aaron Fox deal, when De'Aaron Fox moved from Sacramento to San Antonio, even fake first-round picks are still first-round picks when it comes to GMs going out there big game hunting. And I think that's what the Charlotte Hornets are preparing themselves to do, either in this next offseason that we've got coming up, or when they go to look to make upgrades to this team at the next trade deadline. And so when people asked me, what's your best case scenario for the trade deadline, I said, if they can manage to get first round pick assets out of this deadline for any of the players outside of the obvious ones in LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, if they can get first round draft picks back, that's best case scenario, because you are asset building. That's where the Charlotte Hornets are right now.
In NBA game action, yes, they still do that in the NBA. The ever-changing Mavericks took on the Celtics.
Are the Dallas Mavericks back? The Mavs get a win against the Boston Celtics in a game where Joe Mazzulla pulled the starters with 9 minutes left. The Mavs had a 24-point lead. They built all the way up there, and the Mavs did not close very strong, but still got the win. Klay Thompson, 25 points. He had a really, really hot start in this game. 11 of 17 from the field. Only hit 3 threes. He was getting his offense in a bunch of different ways, and the Dallas Mavericks desperately need that. Without Luka Doncic, the Mavs are going to have to figure out how to get offense, and Klay has got to be involved in that way. Also, an incredible showing from the bench for this game. Spencer Dinwiddie, 22 points. He had some mistakes late, but 22 points off the bench on really great efficiency. 20 points for Najee Marshall, his first 20-point game since November, before he had all the sickness, injuries, and all that kind of stuff. So good to see him have a bounce-back game. And Max Christie, he's just a real legit player. Could be a starter for the Mavericks. 15 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. Didn't hit a 3 and still affected the game in a big way. Really good to see him.
And the Lakers and Warriors squared off.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Luka-less Lakers get a 120-112 win over the Jimmy-less Warriors, and it was truly led on all counts by LeBron James. 42 points, 17 rebounds, 8 assists. LeBron was 14 of 25 from the field, hit 6 threes, 8 of 10 from the line, and he was in serious entertainer mode this entire game. Sequence in the first half where he hit 3 threes on 3 consecutive possessions. The third one was at half court, and he was constantly just working the crowd, getting them into it. He was like a hype man before the main event, but also the main event. And nice support off the bench from Gabe Vincent, 15 points. Jared Vanderbilt, 14 rebounds. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Jordan, Coach LaFleur said he wanted to see you be a more vocal leader this upcoming season. What does that mean for you?
It's something that, talk about a vocal leader, that's something that I've always strived to be better in and grow my game. And, at the end of the year, there's always things that coaches give you that you want to improve on and focus on for the next year. And that's pretty much what he's challenged me with, is just taking that next step and continue to grow and be able to hold guys accountable and just kind of hold that standard to what it is.
Could you guys benefit from maybe some veteran leadership? You guys are the youngest team in the league 2 years in a row.
We'll see. We'll see what happens when we get some new pieces. Obviously, every year, it's a new team, draft class, everything. So, like you said, we've been a young team. Every year we're getting older, so that's a good fun. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you can add some really good players to our already good team, man, it's going to help us out for sure.
This second year you played, second year that you guys have ended the season in a way that maybe you feel like you didn't play your best. How does this offseason differ from last offseason?
Yeah, man. It's always about getting back to the work and trying to find ways to improve your game and figure out why, you might not have had as much success, why it might have been, not as consistent. So that's always the process of going back, watching tape, figuring out what you need to improve on, what you did good, and finding ways to, like I said, go win these big-time games against the really good teams, which is kind of area we struggle with this year.
You guys saw really big defensive improvement this year. Jeff Hafley came in. What did he bring to the locker room, and how did he change the vibes around there?
Yeah, he brought. With his scheme that he brought, which is a pretty phenomenal scheme. He just, like you said, brought that energy, brought in some coaches who had that energy as well. And, I think he's a great job of getting those guys all playing on the same page, all understanding what they need to do to be successful. And, we had a lot of success as our defense. And obviously, I was going against them every day in practice. Yeah. It's a real deal for sure.
Would you like to see a little bit more, aggressiveness in the plus side of the field? With you guys going for it on fourth downs, you guys were a little less aggressive this year because you felt like you had a kicker you could trust.
That's always a good part is when you have a good kicker, Brandon McManus, that we can rely on. But I'm an aggressive player. I like having that aggressive mindset, and I'm always down to go for it on fourth down.
You can stay up to date on the NFL all year long by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today, and of course, Locked On Packers for your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, 2 former players tell us why their side, their position, will be the key on Sunday. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. There's been a ton of great events here in New Orleans for the big week. And the game, of course. Wouldn't it be great to go to the game? Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more near you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Which is the most impactful position for a championship team in this matchup? Is it a tight end like Travis Kelce or Dallas Goedert?
We're here, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Kyle Rudolph, longtime NFL tight end, Minnesota Viking. A lot to get to here because this is actually a great tight end Super Bowl. Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, and we've seen kind of, this is like the year of the tight end. Brock Bowers, a lot of guys really coming through here. Why do you think that that's the case right now?
Well, you can go back and look at a lot of the previous Super Bowl winners, and the common denominator typically is a good tight end. When you have a good tight end, it gives you so much flexibility on offense. As they say, it's the quarterback's best friend. And I think the tight end position, not only in this game on Sunday with Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce, but the tight end position across our league, it's in great hands. Some of the young guys, you mentioned Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, these guys are all playing at a really, really high level. It's a ton of fun to watch. I think you're seeing an easier transition from college to the NFL. These NFL coordinators are starting to incorporate a lot of college principles, a lot of college style, which is great. The opportunity of back in the day, no, you got to be this prototypical tight end. You got to block this guy and look like that, and just in my opinion, eliminates a lot of athleticism.
That seems to be a big part of it too, though. It's like before, if you wanted to play tight end in the NFL, you had to be an inline guy. You had to be able to block defensive ends, kick guys out, and now they're sort of like, as long as you can catch touchdowns, we kind of don't care. They do, but
no, 100%. And it's up to the offensive coordinator then. If you have a guy who is 235 pounds and can't be in line and shouldn't be in line, well, it's your job not to put him in line.
Yeah.
But you got to find ways because he's such a mismatch for defenses. Can't cover him with a third or fourth corner. Can't cover him with a linebacker. Can't cover him with a safety. So ultimately, it's up to the offensive coordinator to then figure out, like, okay, how do I still run the football? How do I still use him in the run game without lining him up next to the tackle and ultimately making him block defensive ends?
Or could it be a bell cow running back like Saquon Barkley?
Let me ask you about this week. We got Saquon here.
Yes.
But we're going to hear a lot about Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
We're going to hear a lot about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. To you, what is the key to a game like this?
Key to a game like this is when you hear Pat, you hear what Saquon. Well, you already know what Pat's done this year. You already know what Saquon's done. So now I'm this defensive mindset, defensive coordinator, looking at that and thinking, say, all right, knowing Saquon, I can't come in and say, okay, I'm gonna just focus and stop him because you forget. Because you do that, you'll focus and forget about Jalen Hurts, who's throwing the ball and running with his own legs. So you make an effort to contain Saquon, but I say if anything in the NFL, at the end of the day, as a defensive coordinator and as a defense, you have to focus on the quarterback too. You can't forget about them because 32 quarterbacks around the NFL. Of course, we have 32 in the NFL. We have 2 that's only end up here at the end of every year, but they're all good quarterbacks. So if they got a run game along with them, you got to pay some attention to that because if not, you'll get scorched. But do enough where you're not being totally in zone coverage or blitzing all the time because then they're going to catch you, with too many. I say not enough people in the right positions to cover a deep ball because of the blitzing, things of that nature. So with that, be cognizant of adjustments and make your adjustments as a DC on the run. So a guy like Spagnuolo being in this situation is probably the best guy you want on your coaching staff because he knows how to make those last-minute adjustments when you knew, okay, the game plan was this, but now we got to switch because they've been doing this the last 2-3 drives. So now we got to make this adjustment, and the guys understand from that KC locker room on the defensive side, they've been with Spags now for over 5-6 years, so they understand the adjustments.
Running back, to me, is everything. If the Chiefs can't stop Saquon Barkley, they will lose because Saquon can beat you by himself. This tight end matchup's pretty even. I think Dallas Goedert is just as likely to make 4 or 5 big plays as Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes, of course, better than Jalen Hurts. But the running game, Saquon's ability to be explosive in the run game, this Philadelphia Eagles team is just so much more explosive. And that can be the difference. But if the Chiefs bottle up Saquon, I don't know that Philly has enough answers. To me, the running game is the key. And finally, let's get back to Ed McCaffrey here for a second. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He's got 2 kids in the NFL. They've got 0. I asked him about that.
Okay, so you Christian last year gets to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes gets them. Luke gets to the NFC Championship game. Can't quite get there. Yeah. So you got 3 as a player. Would you give 1 so that they could each get 1?
Yes, absolutely. I want more for my kids than I've ever wanted for myself. And so last year's Super Bowl, it felt like someone ripped my heart out. Yeah. It was so depressing, and I want it so badly for Christian to win. But also, that team's like family to me. Right, Kyle Shanahan was the ball boy. I'm friends with the Shanahan family. Yeah. I'm friends with John Lynch. He was a teammate of mine in college. Anthony Lynn was coaching. Bobby T was coaching the Kubiak kids. I got to know like Kittle and Juszczyk and Bosa and Fred Warner and really liked the guys on his team. And we were around them for a couple years. We had that devastating loss to Philadelphia when Brock Purdy got hurt the year before. And so this was our year. And it looked like it was going to happen, and it didn't. And I think they had the team to do it, but like I said, you got to play the best football in the most important times, and
you need a little luck.
And you need a little luck, and it's also, it's everybody on the team. And the hard part about it is they'll look back and think, we know we could have won, and we didn't. And that takes nothing away from the greatness of the Kansas City Chiefs. But there's a difference between them making a play and you having a self-inflicted wound. And they had too many of those throughout the course of 4 quarters, and it wasn't in any one phase. Offense, defense, and special teams, and you don't get it back, and it's too bad. And then I sat through something similar this year with the Washington Commanders. Yeah. They had this incredible win over the Detroit Lions, and Detroit was a really good team this year. And then they just had a couple too many turnovers, didn't play their best football against the Eagles, and that just happened a few weeks ago, so I had to live through that. So I'm a dad. I love my kids no matter what. I'm going to be there for them, win, lose, or draw. They know that. And all I really care about is that when they leave the field, no matter what happens, they can look their coaches and their teammates in the eye and have that mutual respect for each other, knowing we did everything we could. We left it on the field. That's what's most important. That's what I take away from the game, the friendships, the relationships, and the respect you get for giving everything you have to your team. And that's all you can hope for, because there's no guarantee in this league.
If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, will a three-peat be on the table, or will the Eagles, in fact, fly in Super Bowl 59? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.